Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today I'm going to need your help. With this being 2024, I really want to make some very helpful videos and try some new things. So we're starting, of course, with ranking all of the steel battleships, moving on to the steel cruisers here very soon. But I want to do some other things. That only is going to cover premium ships, reward ships, that kind of thing. What happens to the tech tree ships? How are you going to actually rank some of the tech tree ships? Perhaps we should take a look at playing through some of these tech tree ships. And that's what today's video is all about. This is not my normal account. This is a Freddy game on an alternate account. We don't have the range upgrades. We don't have the speed upgrades on this ship. I do have the hull and only a 15-point commander here. So this account nearly has the price in, and this is a pretty good game, getting some nice XP towards that tier 10. But my idea is that on this account, I would like to grind through whatever line you guys would like to see. No carriers, no subs, of course. But surface ships, what line do you want to see me grind through? And I'll make a video going through the tiers and talking about my experience playing that particular tier of ship and which modules are worth upgrading. We'll start with a very low-level commander and grind it up as we go. Not trying to cheat our way through things with a ton of free XP or doubloons or a CC buffed account, that kind of thing. The other thing here will be, I am going to run a premium account on this one. I think that is by far the best use of your money in this game if you're playing it a lot. And I think that'll show you why it's so nice to have a premium account when grinding this game. Although, that is up for debate as well. Let me know what you think. But that's what I want to know. I want to know what line should I play next, as I'm almost through the German battleships here. And number two is, what tiers should I start with? I've been kind of thinking about that. What tier do I want to start with? Do I want to start with tier 1 and go all the way through? I think some of those tier 1, 2, and 3 ships can be a little boring. The playstyle doesn't exactly match the rest of the line, and you get through those relatively quickly. I think the game really starts to come into its own around tier 4, 5, or 6. So that's kind of my cutoff point, is somewhere in there. Let me know what tier you would like me to start at. I was thinking about maybe doing a bit of a roundup of tier 3 to 5 or tier 4 and 5, something like that, as the first video, and then doing a single video on each of the tier 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 as we get to them. I think that could be interesting. I want to make some more interesting, useful videos, not just play the same ships over and over. This is not only to make more interesting and good YouTube content, but also while streaming. I tend to find myself playing the same few ships over and over again, and maybe that gets a little boring and a little frustrating at times. So I had a good time having a little session here grinding through the Freddy a little bit more, and I want to continue that. This game, though, is going to be quite a decent match for us. The start is relatively slow. We find ourselves in some tier 10 matchmaker. That can certainly happen. As a mid-tier ship here, we certainly want to be playing a little bit more passive, at least to start. I don't really want to be the first one in, as I sometimes am with my main account, playing at some of the higher tier ships. Tier 10s, something like in Ohio, for example, I'll just be trying to full send it in, trying to take as much as the enemy team will give me. But here playing a little more passive, still getting some decent damage, getting some kills, but not overdoing things. Mainly because we're not top tier, but also our ship isn't fully upgraded. We do want to take our time, I guess. Dealing with a Slava here, got a Citadel on him earlier, but he is angled now. Also, whenever there's a carrier or a submarine in your game, make sure you're trying to at least play near some of your friendly ships. There's a Bourgogne somewhat nearby to us. We're pretty alone on this flank as it stands, and our team is kind of getting cramped in our base at the moment, but we might have a chance to break out of here, depending on how overcommitted the enemy team gets. But with the carrier coming over to our side here, yeah, we're going to have to angle and turn away, wanting to save as much of our HP as we can, but still wanting to help on this Slava. When you're playing for grinding, when you're not playing to just have crazy games or trying to have a fun time, if you're trying to grind, you do want to be sniping kills, you do want to be capturing bases, you want to be defending bases, and you want to be doing damage to destroyers and cruisers where you can. That's pretty normal advice, but keep in mind that the amount of HP you deal to an enemy ship really is counted as the percentage of that ship's total HP. So if I do 10,000 damage to a Slava, that's not that much XP. But if I do 10,000 damage to a destroyer, that's a lot of XP. So that is an idea you can try if you are trying to grind this game. Try to focus those DDs. It is reinforcing good habits as well, going after lower HP, more valuable targets that are difficult to spot, or ships with radar cruisers, that kind of thing. You get more XP for them per damage dealt. Of course, if you can farm a battleship down, that's still going to be a decent amount of XP as well. So pushing in here, don't have our hydro back yet, but fortunately we do manage to dodge some of these torpedoes. We've taken our time. We've done 75k so far. That's an alright game, but this is an opportunity for us to push in. The enemy team certainly has overcommitted. They've lost a lot of forces, and it's time for us to go take the B cap back. Maybe C as well. We just need to be rather careful of the enemy carrier. So I'm trying to, while pushing in, also stay somewhat close to our Bourgogne here, and we're kind of in the flight path of our friendly carrier as well, so we might get some fighters dropped on us as well. Hydro just coming up in time to hopefully deal with these two destroyers here. It's a little scary pushing in without that Hydro in such a massive battleship, and when you're not the most upgraded, it can be rough. I noticed a massive upgrade on this ship in particular is when you get the hull, your rudder shift is massively improved as well. So we can actually turn a little bit quicker and be a little more maneuverable as well. And that's something I want to deal with as an idea just for grinding, because a lot of time, a lot of these upgrades are not worth getting. And I'll talk a little bit more about that once we're in port, as our secondaries managed to give us a third kill here. Definitely very nice for XP. We're going to continue to push, though. Maybe trying to secondary this Thunder. That could be kind of nice. But for the Freddy, for example, the guns upgrade where you go from the 406s to 420s, I believe, not worth getting if you're just grinding towards the tier 10. It's more of a preference whether or not the big guns or the little guns are worthwhile on the Freddy or the GK. So really not worth putting all that XP into. Also, the extra range might not be worth it depending on how long you're going to play this ship and if you're going to keep it afterwards. The engine upgrades too can be skipped potentially. Depends on the ship, right? And that's the whole idea behind grinding lines on this account. Broadside Yamato, we are a bit of a secondary build, so not expecting too much here. But you never know. Yami's got a pretty big citadel, and finally getting those secondaries in on the Thunderer. Double sit. That feels pretty good. Nice hit in on the Yamato there, and we can turn in to deal with these torpedoes, hopefully. I think this Thunder... Actually, I think he actually gets 0 damage here, pretty much. We get super lucky for the Thunder to not absolutely crush us here. He is playing bow in, so he's only got 2 of his 4 turrets on us. But still, we should have taken a lot more damage there. I think we all know how much damage a broadside German battleship can take. Even if it's not citadels, the full pans are just terrifying. Although now that we're angled, we shouldn't take as much, and getting our secondaries on feels pretty good. And then he crushes us. So there you go. Go broadside, take 0, and stay angled, you take 1 billion. Welcome to World of Warships. Doesn't always make the most sense, but up to 150k now, and getting some damage out of those secondaries always feels good. That's kind of the whole goal of grinding here. As well as dealing some AA damage. And a shot on this Malta, maybe. But notice our cooldown on our heal. I'm actually running the 2-point AA upgrade to get our heal back faster. I find it relatively useful. I'm not sure if it's fully optimal on the build, but hey, it is useful in this game at least. And we get a nice little 20k hit into the carrier, giving us our Confederate to finish off this game. 171 while grinding with 3 kills. That's going to be a nice amount of XP. And these are the kind of games that we're looking for. I didn't get all good games like this while playing this ship the other day, but this was the best one. And I had to get this game out to you guys and ask a few questions for the future of a how to grind or potential grinding through a new account series. What ship should we do, and what tiers should we start at? And is premium account viable or not? I do think I want to be using a premium account, though, to grind, especially at these higher tiers. Look at that, 32,000 XP, nearly 1,000,000 credits, and some free XP as well. I'm using some boosters as well in this one. We'll take a look at the build and everything after, but over 2k base XP, feeling pretty nice. Even got nearly 30k secondary damage. I guess closer to 40k if we count those fires, since we didn't have any HE salvos. And there's our total XP. I think I should also show that in some of these games as well, for this account in particular. And I really think it can show the benefits of using a premium account there if we get to that final screen. It's a pretty massive difference going from premium to non-premium. So if you are playing the game, that is always going to be my recommendation. Around the Christmas time, which I know has just passed, we usually have a discount on the full year of premium. So that's usually going to be your best bet if you're playing the game a lot throughout the year. Otherwise, if you want ships, it's going to be the Black Friday sale on ships. Those two things are generally the best value for just putting money into the game, but getting some decent value out of that. So this ship on this account, as you can see, don't have a lot of ships here. We do have the free Yamato from the Christmas event, or code, I should say. Over here, no grinding been done in the Japanese tech tree at all, and yet we still have a Yamato, which is pretty hilarious. And on this account as well, we also do have just up to the Freddy here. So getting close to the price, and if I use some of this free XP that we've earned, we're technically only 82k away, but I don't want to just free XP through things. What you should be using free XP for is free XPing some of the standard modules. There's a pretty big jump in power from a lot of these. So not only do we get a lot of extra HP, get some AA defense, but also that maneuverability change, right? So 24-second rudder shift all the way down into 17.5, which is still not amazing, but it feels very, very, very different. As for the equipment here, I have just kind of landed on running secondaries, since that's going to be fun for me, and we're not trying to optimize it fully this build, just trying to have some fun with this line. So did manage to get a secondary build out of this 15-point commander, has been grinded out while playing this line. The difficulty here, though, is actually getting the commanders swapped from ship to ship. You do lose out on quite a bit of XP just by trying to retrain them. So it took me a few games to actually get our commander trained up for this ship. But pretty fun experience. We were running blue boosters here on this account. This is what we're starting with boosters. Even have one red booster. So these are really good things to run. I know it can feel a little bit pressure oriented if you are running your higher tier blue or red boosters, but if you're just letting them sit here, they're not benefiting you at all. That's the best way to think about it. I let 10 of these boosters sit here, I'd never get the XP out of them. It's just theoretical XP. Even if I have a bad game, I'm still getting more XP than if I'm just letting them sit in port. That's kind of what you gotta consider. I understand that's hard to do, especially early on when I was playing this game. I felt a lot of pressure back in the day when we had all of these signal flags and camos that had different XP oriented to them. That is no longer the case, but didn't want to use those special ones needlessly, I suppose. But yeah, that is the Freddy a little bit here. I'll be working towards the tier 10, and then we'll see what we get to. This account does have a few premiums from when I wanted a Massachusetts on this server. Actually, I believe this account was on the Russian server. I was trying out that a little bit before all the changeover happened throughout the last couple of years. So now this account is actually on EU. So we got 23,000 people online, which is nice to see. NA server, especially at these times, morning for me on North America, certainly not that many people on. Towards the evening, it certainly can get up there, of course. But there you go. New EU account. And again, let me know in the comments down below. What's the next line that I'm going to be grinding? What tier should I be starting at? And should we be maybe combining some of those lower tiers into one video, as we got to get through them pretty quickly and they're not as interesting to me personally. Also, premium account or not, and what level of boosters should we be going for? And that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm very excited to get started with this one. This one could be a pretty fun and interesting series to look at. and give you guys some good insights on how I would specifically be grinding these ships. For example, with the Freddy here, I don't think I'm ever going to research these. That is a lot of XP to just not be used here. Right? That's over 50, 70, 80k XP towards the Preussen that we just aren't going to go for. We have a spotter plane. We don't need the range. Our speed, 2 knots, it's not going to make a difference really. And certainly these guns are a bit of a side grade, just as an example. Okay, I think I've talked enough about this, hyping this up maybe a little too much, but I'm just excited about it, and I think it's a really interesting idea for some new videos. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.